Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the AFLW show. We're here to review round 5. I'm here once again with my beautiful co-host, Kira. Good evening, Kira. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'd be much better if we were reviewing a win, but I'm sure we'll find some positives from the game and then get into the things that we didn't think worked too well. But I'm glad to be sharing this experience with you and everyone in the audience.
Yes, well, what else can we do on a Wednesday night but tune into Blue Abroad? And I'm repping Blue Abroad tonight. So with that said, let's get into the show. Get a minute of your time. Get a minute of your I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been up north, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. Green grass in front of her. Makes the most of that open space for a couple of bounces. It's about the only positive I can find right now. Is our intro.
The intro is good.
It gives me severe FOMO of what we used to have.
Oh, absolutely.
The way we went about our footy, the players that we had.
The vibe.
Where is the vibe? No, but let's talk about the game. And I ended up going on Friday night. I was at the grand final parade in the morning. Was lucky enough to be walking in front of Paddy Cripps with my Paddy Cripps Brownlow medalist. And I spoke to Mimi Hill as well, and she seemed pretty focused. And the word she said to me is, "We have a plan." I don't know what that plan was, but in some aspects, I think that we can say that it was a little bit successful. We were able to stop their scoring in the second half. They only kicked 2 goals, and we were able to nullify Paxman's influence, which I said was a key. Unfortunately for them, well, unfortunately for us, I should say, fortunately for them, they had other prolific ball winners in Olivia Purcell and Lily Mithen, those types of players. So what was your take on Friday night, Kira?
The first half was extremely hard to watch, like extremely hard. I'm that person that never leaves a game early, never turns the TV off early, and I was seriously considering it at halftime. It was very difficult, but I was very, very proud of them that they were able to stop the bleeding after halftime. As you said, we were able to put the brakes on them, and I think that's the positive because you normally go into the following week how you finished off, and I thought our second half was a lot stronger than our first half, and there was something there that we can build upon.
Agreed. And I think the fact that we were able to stop a team like Melbourne who know how to hit the scoreboard quite quickly and quite frequently, I feel that if we were able to nullify their ability to hit targets up forward and actually kick goals is a positive. But on the flip side, whilst doing that, we need to learn how to continue to attack and score ourselves because 1 goal for a game of football is unacceptable. So
you cannot win games of football if you're kicking 1 goal. That's deplorable.
No, and I'm thankful that we didn't play Adelaide because I watched some highlights of that game today and they were just unstoppable. And I want to give credit where it's due to Taylor Harris. Her goal from 50 was absolutely phenomenal. We were clapping it.
And of course, she kicked the first goal of the game. It was just meant to be, I suppose.
No, we spoke to her after the game and we're like, thank you for not killing us. And we actually said to her how much we thoroughly enjoy watching her play and the way she goes about it. And just that goal was just amazing. We're like, you know this ground better than most. So she's like, oh, it's changed a little bit since I was here last. And I go, yeah, that's true, but it's still
the outside has, the buildings have, the ground hasn't. Still
that's exactly what we said to her. And it's just, I think it was a little bit of a shame that to start the game, we had someone who we know as a forward playing on her in defence. And I wish that they had played Serena Gibbs up forward because she can mark the football. And she was drafted to Carlton and was under Taylor's wing until Taylor left, being trained as a forward. So
And that's what we were absolutely screaming out for in that game, was just someone up forward to have a tall presence and save us really in that forward line, because it just was not working for us. And I thought she probably could have provided that for us, but clearly the coaching staff, or maybe the plan that Mimi was talking about, didn't have that written in it. I think it was probably a mistake in hindsight, but who knows?
look, and I say this every week, Kira, you know what's coming. You gotta hit the scoreboard, and to not take a single mark inside 50, being in there only 13 times, what are you doing? Like, the clearances were 25 to 28. So it was decent. We were winning the ball out of the middle. It was our inability to hold the mark when the ball came our way. It wasn't slippery or anything until after halftime when it started raining. But Melbourne was still able to take marks. They took 5 marks inside 50. Like, the only thing that went our way was the free kicks, 21 to 9.
You've got to laugh. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. But that's exactly right. We matched them in the middle, and we matched them in most team stats across the board, other than that forward line, which just did not work for us on the weekend.
It didn't. And these are the 4 names that I was going to mention myself that I thought played a phenomenal game. Where would we be without Mulala Wifi and her ability to read the ball in the air in defence?
14 intercepts.
One thing. 14 intercepts, exactly right. And I feel that she has become that prolific person that we have in our defence that we know will take a mark when we need her to. The only downfall for majority of our players is their kicking efficiency.
Which is an entire team. I don't want to blanket entire team, but most of our team really struggle with that.
They do. And if you can't kick a football 15 metres to a teammate and hit them, you know what I mean? And we spoke to someone after the game that works for the club, and we asked the question, like, what do they do at training? And he goes, oh, they train the house down. Well, that's good to hear, but where is it? Like, where is it out on the field? Like, they say you train how you wish to play. If we're training the house down, why aren't we playing the house down?
Yeah. I can't answer that. No one can really answer that unless you're inside the 4 walls, but it doesn't really equate. There has to be a missing link somewhere, because how can you be training the house down and then not being able to execute basic skills on game day? Like, there has to be a missing link somewhere there.
I'm just a little bit concerned at our inability to do the basics, and marking is classed as one of the basics. And if Natalie's watching, hello, beautiful. All night was, why can't we take a mark? How come we're not taking a mark? Like, that was literally the conversation we were having all night. And we sit together every week, men's or women's, and everything that was coming out of our mouths was exactly the same at the exact same time. And that's just, I don't understand how. Like, I understand if the ball's wet and it's really terrible conditions, it's pissing down with rain, whatever, ball slips out. But if it's dry, this goes back not just this week, but this goes back a few weeks. Like, dry conditions, sun shining. If you can't take a mark, like, marking's not easy. I get it. But like I said last week, at that level, you should be expected to take a mark.
Oh, absolutely.
Overhead.
The game.
Yeah.
Football is marking, handballing, kicking, and tackling. They're the 4 parts of our game. That is what AFL is. So if you can't do those 4 things and execute, I get it, pressure, all those things. But boy, oh boy, there's got to be something wrong if you cannot do those 4 things, because that's what our game is. Like,
I'm just counting how many marks we took as a team. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 marks as a team.
In a whole game of football.
Yeah. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32 marks Melbourne's way in comparison.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was correct.
Wow. That's how I think that's my word for this season. Wow.
Wow. Look, I said if we can get within 30 points, I'd be happy. We fell 2 goals short of that. So,
And on that, like,
yeah.
not excusing the scoreline at all, but there was a few blowouts and there has been a few bigger margins this season. So I don't think, like, we're not an outlier for how this game's panned out. In round 5, there was a 50-point margin, a 42-point margin, and a 96-point margin, plus our margin. So there has been bigger scoreline margins. They haven't all been close games. So we're not an outlier, but it's very, it's a hard pill to swallow still.
No, and if you think we'd be having a completely different conversation if we didn't have 2 draws. If we had won those games, we would have been 3-2.
Yeah.
Instead, we're 1-2. So completely different conversation we'd be having if we were 3 wins. We'd be sitting here going, you know what, Melbourne are this side, Melbourne are that side. We're still learning, We're still 3-2. We've won 1 game for the year.
And that's the beauty and the curse of football or sport in general, is it's so black and white. We can sit here and say, oh, they did this well, they did this well, they didn't do this so well. But at the end of the day, it's a win-loss industry and we've won 1 game. And we're nearly at the midpoint of the season. So that's not a pass mark.
On the flip side, if you look at it like we beat Essendon by a point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another 2 minutes, the way Essendon were playing could have beaten us. Another 3 or 4 minutes in the Port Adelaide game or the Freo game, we could have been sitting 0-5.
That makes me feel a little bit ill. Like, I don't even want to think about how that could have played out because it's disgusting. Like, that's the only word I can find, is looking at where we started and where we are now. If we had lost 5 games, which we haven't, but if we had, that would be, what conversation would we be having right now? I do not know.
Well, when you look at it, Essendon were coming home with absolute wet sail against us. Another couple of minutes, they would have rolled us. We got very, very lucky in that game. Should not have lost to Port Adelaide or drawn with them for that matter because, well, they got a lead on us, to be fair. They lost that on their own account. And Freo, we had no business drawing that game the way we played. So you are spot on. Like, I'd hate to think where we would be or what conversation we'd be having if we were 0-5.
I would love to just quickly time travel to the end of the season and see what the messaging is and what the direction is for the new season. I would just love to have that perspective now to maybe make me feel a little bit better about the remainder of this season. Obviously, we don't have that luxury of just time traveling, but I think it's going to be a very crucial off season coming off the back of this season in the entire future of the AFLW for our club. Because if they don't get this messaging right, then members will, I can't see a lot of members sticking around as AFLW members coming to the games each week if this is what we plan on dishing up for another season. And B, like, players, do we really expect to get players in the door if this is what's going on? Like,
you're not wrong. And that's the thing though, like, Our season finishes in what? 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
End of October or start of November, whenever. It's going to be a very, very long off season because I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe that season 8 isn't going to start until the men's bye round. So that's a long off season for them to go away and think about it, because you've got the VFL season that'll play out from February till about the time the AFLW starts. So there's still going to be female football at that level or to that level during the off season, but it's going to be a very, very long season. And
absolutely.
I saw Daniel Harford yesterday morning and he seemed very chipper, which I don't know how to take. Like, is that just his personality? He's really chipper, full stop. I just, like, you're sitting 1, 2, and 2. This game this week is crucial to our season. Like,
spot on. And
yeah,
on Half and the future, I do have a quick quote from him. He said, "It's a great opportunity to grow and get success in the back end of the season." And initially, that left a really sour taste in my mouth because, yeah, I thought, hang on a minute, we've had 5 weeks, like, and we haven't had in much. We had the Essendon win, but we have barely had any success in the first 5 weeks. They were 5 or 4 because we won 1, 4 opportunities that we could have won and we didn't. And now we're putting all our focus into the back half. So that left a sour taste in my mouth. But by the same merit, that also did give me a little bit of hope that we're not throwing the towel in and we are still going to push for a win in the back half. And hopefully we don't finish the season on 1 win, because I don't think we would be able to swallow that. I think that would be extremely, extremely tough. But yeah, great opportunity to grow and get success in the back half. You'd want to hope we grow and get some success in the back half, please.
You want to hope so, because our remainders are the Giants, St Kilda away at RC Park. Then we've got Richmond at home. Then we have the Suns on Metricon Stadium, and then the Doggies to finish.
As the ladder currently stands, we're playing 16th, then 11th, then 8th, then 9th, and then 5th.
So Bulldogs are 5th currently, right?
Yeah.
So this week is vital.
Massive.
To our season. I would much rather go 2, 2, and 2 than 1, 3, and 2.
Yeah.
We need to win this week. And Giants are another club that are currently in a similar position to us in terms of where they sit and how they play. They were absolutely obliterated by Adelaide on the weekend. And this is an Adelaide that have lost some quality players over the off season as well. So for the pure fact that Giants could barely get their hands on the footy, we need to capitalize on this. Like, I know it's not good to, knock someone when they're down, but
let's knock them when they're down, because this is our opportunity. As
Correct.
Half said, opportunity. And I like what Amanda said in the comments. Season 6 ended a lot better than it started. Maybe there's time to turn it around. Spot on. And I think that's what Half was probably referring to when he said talking about the back half of the season. So let's start that off this weekend.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a running joke in the group that I sit with at the football that we started playing in round 7 last year. And it was a little bit too late in the season to be starting to play. So let's hope we start 1 week earlier this year. And
we'll learn from our lessons.
Let's learn from our lessons and maybe next season start a little bit earlier than that. Maybe round 1, perhaps. That might be nice.
In 5 years' time, we'll start in round 1. 1 round each.
But no, in all honesty, I just keep coming back to the same issue, and it's our ability to attack. Like, I don't know what it is about when we get the ball over halfway, it's like we stop. We're like, You were thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like we stop, we panic, and then we hack. And then the ball just floats into the 50 and it's easily intercepted by a defender. I would love it if they just lowered their eyes a little bit, hit someone at half forward, lower your eyes, and give you get what? 15, 20 seconds to think about it before the umpire calls you on. This is when your forwards, if they've pushed too far up, they've got to get on their fucking bike and get back into that forward line. Because I think this is the problem. That, we were talking about it last week that they are told to push up. And we think that they're pushing up too far. Because by the time they push up too far, when we break, we don't get back quick enough. So we need to, leave one forward, at least one forward. And I think in the absence of Darcy Vesio, Christina Bernardi played a fantastic game in the air. She'd bring the ball to ground to no one.
Yeah.
To Melbourne crumbing defenders instead of Carlton attacking small forwards because they're spent and they're still standing with their hands on the hips in the middle of the ground. Like, if you're going to kick the ball in and you're going to hit your tall targets, be at the fall of the ball. Like, be next to your defender. Use your body. Do something, even if it means your midfielders push in. Push into the forward line if you don't see anyone there. Exactly.
If anything, cause a bit of chaos in there so that the defenders don't have a straight plan and space to just get it out.
Correct. That's why small forwards are there. They're there to kick goals is the first one, but to put that forward pressure on and lock the ball in the forward line. Like, that's the key. You get the ball in there. If you don't kick a goal straight away, if you don't hit a target straight away and that ball hits the deck, your job as a small forward is to lock that fucking thing in.
Literally, listen to anyone in the crowd when there's a kick in, everyone screams, lock it in, lock it in. Because if it's in your forward line, you've got more chance of kicking a goal. So if you keep it in there longer, increases your chances. I mean, I'm bad at maths, but I think that maths is pretty basic.
Pretty basic, but it's volleyball. It bounces from our forward line straight back out into our forward line, straight back out. I think there's nothing wrong with our defense. Our midfielder putting in, more emphasis needs to be put on, I'm going to keep saying it until they do something about it. So if anyone's watching, this is what I'm talking about. You take your forwards and you run drills from the middle into the forward line. You put your defenders on your attackers and you get them to do repeat leads, tick leads. If they're not going to go to them the first time, open up the back of the contest for someone else to take a mark. That's the whole point of a forward drill. Like, I know at our training sessions, our coach gets us all set up and we do drills from the middle and we get our forwards to lead each way and then our full forward lead forward. We open the space because our defenders, if they think we're going for a lead, they're going to follow us out, aren't they?
That's their job.
If they're disciplined defenders, they're going to be following you out. But you don't lead and kick it into the pockets. That's where your full forward or someone who's in that drop zone, in that danger zone, leads directly up to the ball carrier. And you hightail it up to there. If you're not going to get there, the ball hits the deck, have your crummers there. Get a handball up. Get a shepherd. Get a kick. And if it takes you 2 or 3 kicks to get to your desired spot in the forward line, so be it.
Who cares? No one cares how long it takes you to get there as long as you execute when you're there and you finish with a goal.
But this is our problem. Our kicking ability, we don't seem to be able to hit targets. And if we do hit targets, they don't hold the mark. I think I counted maybe 1 or 2 occasions where we had 3 kick mark. Like kick mark, kick mark. And then we go for the third one, and then we kick it to someone who is in trouble already with a defender hot on their tail, and they drop the mark.
Yeah, well, based on our mark count for the game, wouldn't have been very high.
17 marks for a game of football against 32. That's almost double the amount of marks. Like, I don't know what to say to that. Like, And we're not trying to find things to criticize them about. That's not what we're here for.
We would love to sit here for 40 minutes every Wednesday praising them, saying how good they did, but we can't lie. Like, they're clearly struggling in these areas.
I wish, you know what I mean? Like it's coming from a place of love for us. Like we love our football club from top to bottom.
And we just want them to succeed.
No, and that's exactly right. And we said this at the start of the year, our expectations weren't going to be high, but we just wanted to see effort. And in that second half, I did see effort. There was more around the football. It's just our ability when we do win the football in defence and we get it to the wing, we have no one to kick it to.
I think I'm realizing now, I think it's taken me a little while. I might have been a little bit slow, but I think I'm realizing now how much we're missing Harris in the forward line. I thought we would be able to cover her and, find other avenues, but I think now I'm starting to give up on hope of someone else filling that kind of void at the moment. I think we really, really miss her up forward, and hopefully the list managers have something in plan on the off season, because I think we really need to bring another tall forward that can run at the ball and will give us another avenue to get the ball forward.
And I don't necessarily just want to go headhunting for any forward either. I want it to be more strategic on our part, and I want to try and invest in a younger player. I know I harp on about how I get told I'm old and all that sort of stuff, but we want someone that's going to be there and want to be there for a prolonged period of time. Because we know Darcy Vesio, they're not going to be around forever, right, in terms of that. Kez Peterson, not going to be around forever. It's your Mimi Hills and your Abby McKays that are going to lead this football club into the foreseeable future. And I want to be able to invest in a forward that we've already got. I want them to invest a little bit more in Serena Gibbs, if I'm honest.
Up forward.
Yes, because I just don't know. I just don't know what else we can possibly say. I mean, I love your enthusiasm, but I look.
I don't think I have the skill set for that. Shan can be senior coach.
I don't think I have the time.
We've gone from an AFLW show to a recruitment show.
Oh, I would love to be an AFLW recruiter. I honestly would, because
I've got recruit us forward.
I've got friends that haven't played football before, but watch, and they're like, how? They pluck girls. This is what I don't understand. Like, pluck girls from other sports that have played football for 2 minutes. And then they don't invest in the girls that have been playing football since juniors. But that's another story for another day. I'll go into that in our review show at the end of the season. This is a really good question, and I wanted to ask you tonight who you thought would be leading the BNF at this point. I actually agree with Thomas here. I think they would not necessarily in that order, but they would have to be the top 4.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we should call them the M&Ms.
The M&Ms. Beautiful. I love that nickname.
Yeah, I think I would probably say Mim leading. But in saying that, I think either any 4 of them up there. But I'd probably say Mim.
Comfortably for me, I'd say Mim, Mua, McKay, Moods in that order.
Yep.
And Kez maybe 5th at this point.
Yeah, that sounds
we'll see what happens in the back end of the year. And for those that have just joined us, welcome. I can see a few new people popping up in the comments. Hi, Chris. I don't think many people did get to the open training session either because the weather was absolutely terrible yesterday. I was at the
I
club.
didn't even know there was an open training until I saw photos. I was like, huh?
I was at the club yesterday doing some work and doing some game development officer training, and they had a clinic, an all-girls clinic there. The AFLW girls were actually running. They were running the activities, which I thought was really, really great to see, because it just shows that they're wanting to help out and do stuff in the community, and I just love that stuff. So that I thrive on that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Wasn't really well advertised.
I am not going to lie. I'm a little bit addicted to social media. Like, I spend a lot of time on social media, and I did not know that there was an open training session on. So Carlton, maybe advertise it just a little bit more next time. But maybe in saying that, maybe they didn't want it to be massive. Maybe they wanted to keep it a little more intimate. Those that were there seem to have had a really good time. I've seen a few videos, photos, and it looked really good, really interactive. So
Yeah,
that's
positive.
good.
No, because I've heard some things that like the girls like come out late and they don't stay out there too long and they don't really interact with the fans, which really upsets me because Carlton AFLW of old, we used to have the Hosco huddle where after every win, they'd come over and they jump on the fence and they jump in a photo with the entire cheer squad. These are the things that I miss about the girls that have left. My dad just asked me a question, when's Ava going to debut? Probably this week. She's kicking the football around the house. It's good enough for me.
Bless. Chris got an email sent out about open training, so maybe I just missed the email.
It probably went to my junk folder, if I'm honest.
Yeah, maybe.
It was just too cold, too wet for me, and I find going to trainings, unless there's like a whole bunch of us going, really boring. Maybe because I train twice a week and play games myself, I just find it not as enthusiastic. I'm not
it's definitely just the community factor and seeing everyone and being at Icon Park. Obviously, we get to go there quite a lot with the AFLW, but anytime you can get back to the home base is a good time, I suppose.
That's it. Let's jump into this weekend's game. We're traveling to Sydney. We play. Where are we? I don't even know where we are. We play the Giants at Henson Park, 12:10 our time, which is obviously the same. Don't forget there's daylight savings this weekend, which will come into place on Sunday, so this won't affect it. As we mentioned before, Giants were absolutely wiped the floor with.
97-1.
So I'm very nervous about this game because I'm not sure what Giants are going to turn up, because I've seen patches of football from them that are really good and you can't discount them, because I just personally think that it's going to be won and lost in the forward line.
So we're losing. No, I think you're spot on. That was actually what I was going to mention. It will be really interesting to see. I think we'll know in the first quarter how the Giants come out, if the loss on the weekend has really, really punched their confidence down and they come out quite slow and a bit lethargic and, just very down on confidence, or it could light a fire within them that makes them go, let's absolutely not allow that to happen ever again. And we're playing Carlton, which is a great opportunity to prove to the AFL world that the performance last weekend was not a true representation of who we are. So I think it'll be really interesting to see which side of Giants come out, and that's the exact same for us. What version of Carlton is going to come out? Are we going to come out and say, look, this is a great opportunity to get a win and allow that to make us fight really hard? Or are we going to come out and say, you know what, they're below us on the ladder, and are we going to come in a little bit, we're better than them based on the ladder, so they got smashed last week, we should get the win. Let's hope that's not their attitude, because if so, we'll be in strife.
I want them to come out and play first half Essendon for 4 quarters.
That's what I want. I would love that. I think I'd cry a happy tear if that's what they came out and did.
Because if we can put pressure on the ball carrier and hit the scoreboard, I don't see us losing this game. Based on what I've seen from previous weeks of watching the Giants. And at least I'm not the only one that sees there's a problem with our forward line. This just validates me a little bit.
And happy birthday for the weekend, Chris. I saw in the comments you said
Yes.
they're playing Giants on your birthday.
Yes, let's hopefully we get the W for you on your birthday, Chris, because it'll be all our birthdays on Saturday if we win. Just a quick injury update. I know you mentioned it to me before the show. So Amelia Velado is had a concussion against Freo last week and has been deemed not yet available and will miss round 6. Very disappointing to read that. Paige Trudgeon experienced a concussion also, will be assessed during the week and remains a test for round 6. Darcy Vesio successfully underwent surgery on their broken finger. They'll be assessed during the week and remains a test. And as we know already, Mia Austin has sustained her syndesmosis and broken fib and will miss the remainder of the season. Maddie Guerin, I saw on Instagram, had surgery. Very funny caption if you haven't seen it.
That was a great caption.
Ruptured her ACL in round 3. Phoebe McWilliams missing for the remainder of the season. So that's, there's 3 that are out for the season and 3 that are, or 2 that are a test and 1 that will not play at all. So
what do you think about the tests? Do you think they'll play or probably not?
Gut feeling says Vesio will play. Trudgeon maybe another week just to make sure, because you can't be too careful with concussion, which is why I'm kind of glad that they're resting Amelia another week because she did hit the ground pretty hard. So I just want to make sure that they're 100% before we chuck them out there. But I feel that Vesio may be the one change.
Yep.
Who we drop is another question. I would love to, but I am very sore. I played AFL 9s and Junior X today for work, just for a training session, and I am sore.
That's okay. You can still play.
That's
I'll bring you ice. I'll bring you ice.
Oh, please, thank you. And maybe someone to rub my hamstrings and calves.
I can do that too. I'll become a masseuse.
Done.
You're playing. You're picked. Playing coach.
Yeah, no, well, I'd actually like to see them give her a go too, to be honest. Because Chris made a comment up here. This is what I said before. This is what I said about 5 minutes ago, that we don't seek to be around the stoppage or inside 50 to score. And when you look at other teams that have small forwards that do the same job, a little bit more efficient in that area. So that's probably the one thing. It'll be won and lost in the forward line, essentially, for mine. And if our girls can really put the foot down and really, push the boundaries early, I can't see us losing, but I don't want that to come back to bite me on the ass, because I want to be confident going into this game, because I know we've got the list and I know we've got the talent and I know that we have shown glimpses of what this group can do together and score quickly, because we saw it against Essendon. So I don't know what's happening in the way that they're going about the football and the game. I don't understand where the disconnect is every week.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You don't deserve anything in football, but we should be winning this game.
Should be
exactly.
very
that should is key word, because we probably should have won a few other games this season and we didn't. So that's what concerns me a little bit, is is the team going to go into the game with that mindset, with the we should win this mindset and not we have to fight to win this mindset?
Yeah, and if I'm going to make a change, Chris, I'd probably drop one of oh, Annie Lee, Charlotte Hammonds, and maybe Plano. One of those three to make way for Vesio. My gut feel is probably give Annie Lee a rest. It's her first season. She had one disposal on Friday night. Charlotte Hammonds only had two. And if I'm going to make a change, I probably would say either Annie Lee or Charlotte Hammonds because we could use Nat Plain's experience down back because I played her and Gab Pound up forward, which confused the absolute buggery out of me. But yeah, Annie Lee or Charlotte Hammonds for mine to make way for Vesio.
I would probably say the same. And on Pound, 50 games this week. That's exciting.
Yes, I was about to mention that.
Lovely.
Thank you very much. Love Gab Pound. Funniest person. She is the absolute funniest person I've ever met. And I just want them to win for her because like we've had an array of 50-game players throughout this season so far.
It seems like the season of 50 gamers.
I think it's across the board too because when you calculate how many games, I think because when you add up like the 8 games here and the 8 games there and the 8 games there, it'll slowly build up. It's taken 7 seasons to get to this, but because they're playing 10 games this season, yeah, I'm just really excited for her to play her 50th game. I want them to go out. I want them to go out and win for her.
So do I. And I'm loving the content that our media team are pushing out for Pound Week. I love it. It's good. When, I know some people get frustrated by it and say, we need to be winning and then the social media stuff can come. But we have a department for social media. It's not the players posting that. And I think, when times are trying on the field, it's important to get the mood up off the field and that, interaction with the fans. So I think they're doing a great job at that, to build that connection when, we're all struggling a little bit to find the hope and motivation.
Yeah, no, just the caption in itself on the Carlton webpage is in for a penny, in for a pound. Like, that's hilarious. Like, those little nuances just make you smile in what is been a pretty grim outlook on this season. So, yeah, no, I'm super keen to see how the team goes as a whole. And yeah, I just don't know what to expect because it's such a danger game for us.
It's really, really hard to review it when the 2 games that are playing are so inconsistent and pretty much on the same level field of struggling this season, had a pretty bad loss on the weekend. Both teams, they'd be pretty flat, especially GWS with only the 1 point, but 1 point versus 1 goal, it could very easily have been the other way around given, give or take a few centimeters either side of the goalpost. So, we played a very similar game scoreboard wise. So it makes it really, really difficult to even try and predict what may happen on the weekend, other than exactly what you said, that it will be decided in the forward line, which is what terrifies me.
Yeah. And this is another player that I want to see come back because we need an injection of speed. But I believe Brooke plays rugby in the NRL for who does she play? I know she plays
I don't know who she plays
rugby, but she was saying that if they make the final, let me have a quick look. If they make the final, then she'll be another couple of weeks. Oh, she plays Union. Oh no, she is playing NRLW. My apologies. So yeah, she's currently. She was a former touch player. That's why I got. She plays for the Parramatta Eels. So they've made the grand final in the NRLW from memory. So I think she's unavailable for another couple of weeks.
Yeah,
So she
I would.
may get her for the last 2 or 3 games of the season. But as it stands, we're not gonna have her this week or next week, just by looking at this.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it'll still be a few weeks away, which is a shame. I mean, good for her. She's going to be playing in a grand final in her other sport, but yeah, it does hurt us a little bit as a team, but what can you do?
Yeah, what can you do? Like I would love to see her succeed. And I want her to come back and play and be successful with AFLW and Carlton. So when we get her back, we get her back. At this stage, it's Eels versus Knights in the grand final. I think they're playing the curtain raiser. Oh no, they're playing the day after the men's NRL. So the Parramatta Eels might do a double header, or they might both win the premiership in the men's and the women's. So in a long-winded answer, Chris, couple of weeks.
Not yet, unfortunately.
Not yet.
We would love her to be, but not yet.
Yeah. We did see her on the weekend, and she did indicate to us it'll all depend on the result on the weekend. So I'm guessing, yeah. So a couple of weeks still for Brooke Walker, but I'd love to see her back in our side. I don't know what her future will look like post this season, whether she'll give up AFLW and going into full-time with Parramatta. That'll be entirely up to her. I've had a few people ask me about this just quickly before we finish up. I love Simo. I just don't know if he's ready to coach just yet.
I'm 100% the same. That was my initial reaction was I love him. I love that he's involved in the program. I want him to stay involved with the program, but I don't think, I mean, I don't know, but I don't think he's ready yet for that senior coaching role. I just don't think he's had enough experience in that area, and probably not. We talk about it a lot in the men's competition that the Carlton team in the men's were losers for a long time and they didn't really know how to win. And I think the current AFLW is a little bit the same. In the time that Simo's been there, they've been losers. So I think he needs to be surrounded first in a coaching group that is able to get the win, and so he can see the things that are working and what gets the best out of these girls. And I don't know if he's just at that level yet where he would be able to get the best out of everyone in the group. But who knows?
Totally agree. And just last one to finish. I don't know how to answer this question because I feel like he's got the backing of Brett Munro and the rest of the football club in terms of development of this squad. Ask me this question halfway through season 8 and I'll be able to answer that for you because as we know, we've got 2 seasons with him, so this one and next. So ask me halfway through next season and I'll be able to answer that for you because it's hard to answer it now. If I was to say on a personal front, I would like to see someone else take the reins for season 8, just purely as a change of scenery for the football club, because we didn't actually do a female review when we did the senior men's review, as it was believed that they didn't want to get rid of 2 senior coaches in either program back to back, which is a cop-out for mine. But give him the benefit of the doubt of the rest of this season, and then we can make a decision heading into season 8, I think.
Yeah, I agree fully. I think at the moment he's our coach, so we need to back him for the rest of the season. And I think then we can probably have the conversation going into season 8. We'll probably get a little bit more communication from the club on how they feel about the program and how the program did this year. But I think I found it interesting listening to Scott after Geelong won the premiership on the weekend. He said at the end of the 2021 season, he had a meeting, I suppose, with a range of players, young and old, and said, if any of you don't believe that I can take you to where this club deserves to be, and if you don't have the faith that I'm the person to take this club forward, please tell me, because I will walk away. And I know that not everyone is going to get along with the senior coach, and there's different personalities and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I don't know any of the girls, but I don't think everyone in that club, playing wise, would have the confidence in him at the moment. And I can't speak on him. I don't know anything, but looking purely from an outsider point of view, I would love for them to do some sort of mini review just to get the feedback from the players on what they think about him.
I agree. And I don't think I can add to that, because I think that's just very well articulated and pretty much my thoughts. So just to finish off, if everyone wants to give us their predictions for this weekend's game, just in the comments, we'll read a couple out before we wrap up. I'm going to say Carlton by 20.
I'm going to say Carlton by a goal.
Why are you inflicting heart attack on me?
But I don't think it will be a goal as in like it's very tight up until like the last minute. I think it will be a goal as in like it's a very low scoring game and we know we're like, that's the vibe I'm getting.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to stick with 20. So we've got a couple here. Amanda, Blues by 10. Blues by 18. Blues, Carlton by 15. Pound kicks a goal.
I like it.
Rob likes inflicting heart attacks on me too, it seems. 4 points.
No draw.
No draw. Yep. Please, I do not need another draw in my life. I do not need another heart attack in my life. Thank you very much. But no, thank you very much, Kira, for your beautiful insights once again. We have this conversation every week, and I just want to have a positive conversation for once. So let's hope it happens. Thank you, everybody, in the comments every week. We do really appreciate all of you jumping on, whether it's for 5 minutes, whether it's for the entire 52. Every comment you make makes us smile, gives us extra things to talk about. All your points are valid, and we just love hearing from you. Beautiful audience. Keeps us going, keeps us chugging along. So we do appreciate that every week. Kira, thank you once again for being a really, really fantastic co-host. And I just love this show, working with you.
Thank you, Coach Shannon. Hopefully we're back next week reviewing a win and we can talk a little bit more about the positives rather than all the things that we don't think are going well. So fingers crossed we get the win, and yeah, go Blues.
Go Blues. Have a good night, everyone.
I think Shan.